Hello and welcome to the first video from the old shop for 2021, and I know we're a little bit beyond the very first part of January, and I haven't been making videos, but I don't really know what it's been. I know it's been a strange time for lots of people as well, but that's not really any excuse for me. I think I have lost my nerve a little bit with it, and I've thought, well, I can show you things outside, like here we are in Acorn Wood, but is there anything it's really interesting I can show you actually at the old shop itself? And hopefully that there is, but I think it's been that dilemma which has made me a bit slow at getting going again, making sure I'm offering something that's interesting, I guess. Anyway, so I've come up for my exercise today to the woods and to the heath, and I shall be showing you in a little while. I'm going to show you the elf-like candle finish that I've been working on, the project I worked on, and in fact they've all gone now, which I'm really happy about. And also I want to go up onto the heath itself and talk a little bit about some new ideas. And then later today I'm going to do a bit of gardening. It's really cold, but I'm going to do a bit of gardening, and so I will show you the garden for a little bit as well. And I think that will make a first video, at least a part one, and then we'll see how things go after that. So you're very welcome, and let's get going. And I'll talk to you again when I'm actually by the old birch tree that I've been heading towards. Well, isn't this January light just beautiful? It's really lovely, even though it's kind of middle of the day. It's still quite low and gentle as well. Not that the wind is gentle, and my fingers are really hurting doing this, so I might not get keeping this going for all that much longer. But anyway, I just wanted to just to sum up the project here with the elf-like candles. I just wanted to bring this one back here to the edge of the field and just talk a tiny bit about why I decided to make it as I did. So the idea behind it, as I think I've probably mentioned before, was about the colouring of barn owls, and also the stars you can see imprinted on the edges of the pot or around the pot are the midnight stars and the owl flying under the stars. But more than that, the shape of the vessel, it was based on the idea of Anglo-Saxon cremation vessels and other domestic vessels that are found in Norfolk and elsewhere as well, archaeologically, and just in fields, very simple fields, maybe not dissimilar to the fields you can see just in front of us here. And then we discovered that there's perhaps an Anglo-Saxon cremation cemetery there, and you find the pots, and they're often stamped, well, they're always stamped with designs, and we don't know the exact import of the designs and why they chose different designs for different people, but we can surmise that they definitely were deliberately chosen for the individual in question who's commemorated with the urn. And so I liked the idea, very much like the idea of stamping these vessels, and also the scent or the essential oils I used to scent the candles were based on the idea of the hedgerow and the field edge, the distant pine wood, and the idea that there is domesticity not far away. So the cottage with the open window and the just a faint smell of wood smoke and festive orange and nutmeg because it was a winter candle, and as well the cottage garden with the kind of damp herbs that are just wafting, the smell of them just wafting through. So that was the idea behind that. And I used, you can see here, the wick was a wooden wick, and I wanted it to be like a hearth fire crackling because they do crackle. And also the kind of links us also with the fires from the past, all through the ages, and also the idea of lighting a candle for the ancestors, or it's very universal to light a candle for people. So that was another kind of inspiration behind it. So anyway, that explains that a little bit. And that's the very last one. I was very lucky that they've all found homes to fly away to, but I wanted to keep one I will burn this at some point. I haven't wanted to light it yet. And now on to the next project. So what is next for the old shop? And when we come up onto the heath, which we will shortly, I shall just talk a little bit more about that, and well, the ideas I've got at the moment anyway. And I just want to pan the camera around just to show you how lovely it is looking. Isn't it just, I don't know, just something about this winter light. I know it'll be nice when it's a bit warmer, and it'll be nice when we can all go a bit further afield, because this is just a few steps away from my house, so I am really lucky that I can come over here. And the bracken is all down, of course, being January, and the beautiful bare trunks. It's not just one colour of brown or grey, but a myriad colours, and just beautiful. We're just coming out from the woods, part of the, well, I suppose it's all heathland really, but the woods, which I call acorn wood, onto the heath. So I'll just walk you through, and I call this part of the heath Dragonfly Heath. Last autumn I had this amazing experience actually with dragonflies just everywhere. Suddenly they were all around me and darting here and there, and it was just rather spectacular, and so that's how it got its name for me. So here we are, it's very open, this part of the heathland, as you can see, and in season the heather, which just looks like dead bits at the moment, will be burst into purple life with the flowers, and the gorse, well, there's always some gorse in flower, as they always say. There's never any time without gorse in flower, and gorse is in flower, kissing's in season, the old saying. But well, it'll be ablaze when it comes the later spring. It'll be ablaze with blossom, which sounds quite nice, doesn't it? Ablaze with blossom. But there's quite a lot of management goes on here. It's not totally wild heath. There are people who come and do a bit of cutting back, and I think over here the gorse has been cut right back, which is why it's freshened up. And you can see the birch trees over in the distance there. But I'm really lucky I can just walk here from the door, and here you are. You know, it's somewhere really lovely just to come and walk and ponder, and that's what I have been doing. I've been pondering. I've got this old photograph, which I think a friend alerted me to anyway when I first was moving to this village, and it's an old black and white photograph of gypsies on the heath here. Well, I don't know exactly where they were, but this is the heath, and now you can imagine the gypsy caravans. This is probably Edwardian, or possibly Victorian or Edwardian at the most recent photograph of the people sitting outside of their caravans, of Vardos, with the children just sitting there for the photographer. But it's very evocative. I'd love to just think and imagine what life was like then, and imagine the sounds and the smells and everything that would have been up here. So that's part of what's going to inform my next project, I hope, and also just the heathland aspect of things, because this kind of heathland environment is where we in Norfolk, and I'm sure elsewhere, but where a lot of the prehistoric not settlements really, barrow cemeteries, I would say, more are found. And I think that we don't know why exactly, but the kind of sandy soils might have something to do with why the barrows were raised here. It might be something a bit more spiritual than that. The idea of the lands was something which resonated for the places of the dead, and places people came back to as well. They didn't just put the dead in the barrows and go away. They were like a hub, and the people would, as far as we can work out, would circulate, and like a big, like the rim of a wheel really, and they'd be quite nomadic. And then, but around the hub, which was the place of the ancestors, the burial mounds, and a lot of those are heathland. The biggest one in Norfolk that we know of is Salthouse Heath, and there are at least 35 barrows there which have been counted. It's not easy with all the gorse and how it's been carved up a little bit in the war. They used it for practice and had trenches dug into it and things, so it's a bit messed up there. But as far as we know, there are at least 35 barrows. So it would have been a huge place, and that's really close to the sea. This is not as close to the sea. We're a couple of miles from the sea here. As usual, when I make these videos, you can hear the helicopter overhead. Seems to always wait till I come out to start its activity. Anyway, so that's the idea. That's kind of just to tell you now. This is where my ideas are going at the moment for the next project. Something to do with the heath and the warmth and light of the old Romany life up here, and the Bronze Age as well. The fact it's been used, it's been a focus as part of the landscape for so many thousands of years. And as well as that, another little discovery I made just really recently, like yesterday I think it was that the village here, there used to be in medieval times, there was a fair, as many villages had their own fair annually, but the fair, and it was always on a difference. They have a Saint's Day that would be when their fair was, like St Bartholomew's Day or Michaelmas. Anyway, the fair here was on Lady Day, which is very close to the equinox and is in fact one of the quarter days. And is it the Annunciation? Yes, it's when Gabriel went and gave Mary the news that she was going to have the baby and so on, which is why it's called Lady Day. So I like that. I thought I could probably get that into my thinking as well. And so, well, watch this space. We'll see what comes out of all that. Meanwhile, you see the clouds coming over a little bit now, but maybe we've had the best of the sunshine for today. But meanwhile, here it is, the open space that's the heath. Well, I've just come back to show you the garden because I said I would. It's not looking particularly prepossessing. It's really chilly because the sun's gone in now and my fingers are cold. So again, this isn't going to take very long, but you can see all these sticking up things, which are baby trees and shrubs. I've sort of talked about before about what kinds they are, but they are wildlife friendly, mainly native. There are trees like sweet chestnuts and birches and alder and willows and all sorts really. And then I put shrubs in between. I don't really know what I'm doing, as I said before, but if you don't start somewhere, then you're not going to ever start. And I'm still waiting for the fruit trees. I did have 2 fruit trees waiting to go in anyway, which I've put in. So along the edge here, where I said I was kind of saving it for something by the wall and I wasn't sure what I was saving it for, well, I've run out of space elsewhere else, so I started planting here as well. I've got quite a few fruit bushes, but quite a few things that aren't your normal, like red currants and black currants, etc., but wild fruit. It's been maybe superseded really by cultivated varieties, but really interesting to try. So I've got things like chokeberry and saskatoon and salmonberry and juneberry and so on. So I've just set myself a little target of trying to plant 3 things minimum every day. Well, I'm running out of things to plant now anyway until I get my order comes of the fruit trees. So the 3 things I've got today, I thought I would just show you. I have been doing this, not religiously, but I have been doing it. This one is called a saskatoon. There's all, as I say, they're all fruiting bushes, and this one is called a wolfberry. So I like the sound of that very much, and it's even got some little tiny leaves here. And that's one that climbs, or you can train it in. So I'm going to put that on the trellis. And this one is a Himalayan honeysuckle, which again has edible fruits, and this one's quite respectable size. It looks something already, but I don't know, about 40 centimetres tall maybe. And so that's quite exciting. There's so many other things. I can't really tell you all the things I've planted at the moment, but come a few weeks, you know, it starts to get a few leaves showing, and it will start to look, and maybe even see a little bit of growth. Be something more to show you then. So anyway, I'll say goodbye from the old shop, and I hope to catch up with you again very soon, and we'll see what happens. So I hope you have a lovely evening. Bye.